13 things I would tell myself as a young player.
Okay.
When did you write this?
I wrote this article probably about 2 years ago. Write a lot of stuff for social media.
Mhm.
Some of it gets onto the website, but most everything I write ends up in the social media space. Every once in a while, I'll transfer something over to the website, but it always starts on social media.
Okay.
And it goes from there. And I think this article was inspired by just getting to work with a lot of kids and some of the stuff that we get to talk about on a, weekly, sometimes even by season basis. And it's been received pretty well out there. So I reshare it every few months, just like a lot of the popular posts.
Number 1.
Okay.
The work you put in away from your team is where real growth happens. Take your personal development into your own hands. Excuse me. Stop waiting for others to help you.
I would say most young athletes out there, the only time they ever do their sport, play their sport, practice their sport is when they're with their team. And the truth is that a lot of this, especially in the youth world, these coaches only get 1 to 2 practices a week with their athletes for maybe an hour and a half each time, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little bit less, but there are way more hours in the week. They could do something simple like go outside, play catch, hit off the tee. Mom and dad can go out and hit them some pop-ups, roll them some ground balls. There's a lot more these kids can do on their own time to get better as athletes. So I think it's important to, I try to get that message out there often, like you got to be doing stuff on your own at home.
Would a pickup game of wiffle ball be included in?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Any sort of fun, honestly.
Yeah.
Like playing wiffle ball. We grew up playing wiffle ball. Now they have blitzball, anything like that. You're developing these sort of skills that will translate over onto the field.
So when you say this, not to get too into the weeds, but that doesn't mean, okay, I got to go hit, 25 off the tee or whatever. It could be a focused, intentional thing, or it could just be something super fun, kids playing outside, because all of that adds up to,
And it could be
contributes to their skills.
Sure, it could be both. But
Yeah.
in this generation where young boys more than young girls, with young boys, video games dominate more than half of the households out there. So a lot of these kids that want to be better at sports, a lot of their parents want them to be better. These kids spend more time, their free time, playing video games than they do outside doing things like playing wiffle ball. So some of these kids, they need and they will thrive off of some sort of set routine, like, hey, get home, have your snack, do your homework, go hit a couple buckets off the tee. So some kids thrive off of that routine, and then other kids, they have buddies that they go outside and they do these sort of things with. And we're in this weird spot back in our generation. That was all we did, was outside was our playground. There was really no video games.
Yeah.
But, now they have that one piece dominates so much that you see kids that will honestly never reach their full potential because that became such a big part of their life.
Yeah. Number 2, the game will be hard on your body. Take care of it.
So as an adult player, when you're doing the game every day, it's your job. And again, this is me thinking about where my life ended up, how my body felt. Are there things I could have done when I was younger to have a healthier frame, healthier muscles as I got older? As we speak right now, I have a broken back. I've had a broken back since about, when did that happen? 2003, 2004, somewhere in that window was when I started having back issues and didn't find out until 2008 that spondylolysis. It's one of those words. I can never remember which one it is, but to this day it's broken. I've had to learn how to manage to keep it somewhat healthy, probably once a month. As something will get jarred wrong incorrectly in my back and I'll be down and out for a few days with nerve issues. But anyways, so playing the game as an adult is extremely hard on the body. So if I would have done, lifted weights, trained a little bit better when I was younger, which I think we'll get down to one of those next bullet points, I think that it would have helped me develop a kind of a better, I don't want to say approach, or maybe a better habit of doing things to take care of my body, even when it comes to nutrition.
Yeah, well, especially nutrition, but you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So number 3, accountability will be one of your biggest weaknesses. Get better at it ASAP.
So the last episode we started with my biggest regrets, and without going into too much depth with that, because we talked about it in last episode, my headspace, especially early in my career, was my weakest part. Physically, I was just fine, progressing just fine, but what was going on between my ears was without a doubt something that was holding me back.
Number 4, Every day you play catch, you are a pitcher. If you're not slated to pitch that day, while you play catch, be a pitcher. Work on your throwing mechanics, throw your off-speed pitches, and hit spots on your partner.
So young baseball players are pretty, not to be mean, but they're just aloof. They're just kind of out there floating along.
Yeah.
Often coaches will see that time playing catch as a warm-up, and it's not really taken serious. Coaches are oftentimes in the dugout, or they're standing by everybody playing catch and they're just chatting. Whereas our game is almost like a big, gigantic, glorified game of catch, right? We got to be able to take care of the baseball, meaning we got to field it. We got to be able to make great plays with our glove, and we got to be able to throw it strongly and accurately. All things that a structured catch routine can really help develop. And now that first part of that, as playing catch as a pitcher, again, something I didn't realize until later as a professional, and I try to help the kids I work with now understand this. We should be playing catch with our changeup every day that we throw a baseball. We should be spinning our breaking balls every day we throw a baseball. And all they are is extra reps, extra touches. It's why that fastball grip is the most comfortable pitch to throw, because we literally throw that grip all the time. Now, once kids are able to implement and change their routine and have a habit of playing catch with their off-speed pitches, dang near every single one of them starts gaining more confidence and throwing those pitches better when on the mound and in competition.
I hear you talk about that every day.
Every day.
Every day. So you're saying there's...
Real quick, why do people hear you talk about that every day?
Because it's that important.
But where are you at?
And they're with you.
Yeah. So people that are listening to this probably don't know. They don't see our setup here, but you're a nail tech.
Yes.
And your nail tech space is in our shop where I also do lessons.
Yes.
So when they hear you say that, you hear me say that maybe give a little more context.
Yeah. You're not telling me that every day.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is even kids need to have more intention behind their playing catch. Like, yes, you're using it to warm up and get loose, but also when you're warmed up and you're loose, now you're having intent. Like, don't only throw those pitches in a bullpen. Like, it is every time you throw. And
it starts with the adults. So it starts, and I love having the parents around when I work. I know that some people don't like the parents there, but I don't mind at all having the parents present so they hear things like this, so they can be reminders at home.
Yeah.
But the truth is, and again, not to be mean at all, but most of the coaches out there were not pitchers themselves as an athlete growing up or even playing after high school. So they just don't really understand the importance of doing little things like this that can really add benefit to how a team performs or how an individual performs. I mean, there's a ton of great throwing drills and catch drills that we can do. There are some teams that do it really good, and they will implement, fielding type movements into their catch routine.
Yeah. And we just touched on this one. We're on number 5. Throw your changeup in all caps, exclamation point.
Yes. I mean, I didn't really get confident with my changeup until deeper into my career as a professional. And to be honest, right now I'm almost 50, but I've been throwing my changeup I probably instruct 4 to 5, sometimes 6 hours a day. And I figured it out. I throw roughly around 100 throws in about an hour between catching bullpens and tossing the ball back, between batting practice. It's around 100 throws an hour. Now within that, most of the kids I work with are pitchers. So I throw my changeup more now than I ever have in my life.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, I can do things with my changeup and I can honestly teach it better than I did as a player. My changeup is 100 times better now as an almost 50-year-old than it was when I was a player, because I throw it so much.
And you've been doing that for many years now.
Decades.
I mean, like teaching.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Okay. Get stronger. Again, all caps, 2 exclamation points with this one.
So something that this generation, and a reason why we see athletes as strong as they are now, that are able to hit the ball the way they do now, throw the baseball as hard as they do now, is because we understand so much more about nutrition. We understand so much more about strength training, to where these kids, like the moment they start puberty, they're starting to do stuff to get stronger. I didn't touch a weight until my senior year of high school. So as a 17-year-old, and even then it was super minimal, right?
Yeah.
I graduated high school at 6'4" and 170 pounds.
Yeah.
Whereas my eventual playing weight was around 220, 225, somewhere in there.
Well, think about the weight room at our high school.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it wasn't, but even like weight rooms that high schools have now, like some of them are amazing.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like we had a little closet somewhere.
Yeah.
I think I saw it maybe one time the whole time I was in high school.
It was backside of the gym.
And it was probably more for football players.
Yeah, but even then, like football
I
Football
know.
players train different now too.
But that's my point is
Yeah.
that now the weight rooms at a lot of high schools now, it's like a gym, like an
Mhm.
actual gym you could pay to go work out there. Like,
I
it's crazy.
I think the high school that we went to, Hudson's Bay, I think they ended up turning our cafeteria into a gym
Mm.
a year after we left, but years later, that whole cafeteria turned into a gym.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, next, be a student of the game. When you watch it on TV, watch it more like a student than a fan. Watch how they move their bodies, how they move around the field. Read up on mental toughness and seek out those with more experience and ask questions.
Okay, that's a loaded one. There's a lot of
Okay,
little
so
things
let's
in that
just
one.
be a student of the game.
So, watching baseball, if we can watch the game and pay more attention to how the batters stand in the box when they start their movement into their load, where their stride foot goes, right? What is the timing of when they start their swing, how their hips move, how their shoulders move, how their hands move.
Yeah.
If we can watch infielders and see how they get down and get ready, right? The hop is really popular now. So you see these infielders that will get there and they'll hop and come down at the same time the ball is being hit so they can move quicker. If you watch pitchers, how they do their pickoff moves, how they come set, what they do with their glove arm. You know, there's all these little things that if we watch the game more to see how they do things versus just watching the game and watching how fast they're throwing on the little radar gun spot on the TV screen or waiting to see how far they hit the home runs, that's a fan. That's why we love the game. But if we can kind of learn how to watch it both ways, watch it as a fan and a student, we will become smarter athletes and smarter parents, to be honest, and be able to help our kids a little bit better and coaches. The last part, the mental toughness part.
Seek out those with more experience and ask questions.
Yeah. So something that my father raised me to do was to pick the brains, meaning ask questions of people with more experience. So the game blessed me, the professional game, I got to spend time around guys who had held positions at every position in the game, from a big league player to a big league coach, to a big league manager, to front office positions, being able to corner those guys and ask them questions. To be honest, where I'm at and a lot of my views on a lot of things have to do with spending those moments with those men, just asking them questions.
Yeah. Number 8, you're a pitcher. Just because you threw a pitch, your job is not over.
Again, as a former pitcher, it's hard for me to watch video and not, like, if someone shares a video of someone hitting a home run, my eyes go to what is the pitcher doing,
Yeah.
right? Or if the batter in the video hit a double, my eye goes to what the pitcher's doing. And way too often, I see these young pitchers standing on the mound watching everybody else play the game.
Being a spectator.
When they should be somewhere backing up.
Yeah.
So that emphasis was on being a reminder to myself or helping myself understand that after that ball's hit, I'm either moving to cover first base, I'm moving to field the ball, or I'm moving to back up. There's a couple times when it is appropriate for me to be standing on the mound still when the play is over, and that is if there's nobody on base and there's a ball hit to the left side of the infield, I mean third base or shortstop. I don't really have a lot to do on those two moments. But literally, even if there's nobody on and there's a ball hit to my left, which would be towards second base or the first baseman, my initial instinct should be to move over there in case I'm needed to cover first base.
Yeah. And all those things, they have to be taught and practiced.
Yep.
And
it's
not just like an innate.
Sure. And some kids will pick up on it quicker than others.
Yeah.
But it 100% has to be worked on a lot.
Yeah.
And again, if you get kids that watch the game on TV and see these things and mom and dad bring that up because mom and dad are seeing it, then you can kind of help, pound into those kids' head, what it means to be a pitcher, not just throwing a pitch.
Yeah. Just throw strikes. Your headspace will separate you from your competitors.
So again, that goes back to the mental toughness piece, which I don't think I elaborated too much before, but being able to handle adversity is without a doubt one of the hardest things to become good at. Because as a pitcher, it's on us to be able to throw a competitive pitch I always shot for to throw a pitch every 8 to 12 seconds, but between 8 to 15 seconds, I need to be in the right headspace to be 100% committed to the pitch I'm about to throw. I need to be ready to throw it where I want to throw it and be able to move it, make it move how I want it to move. And if I'm too focused on what the umpire just did, the call he made, my fielders making a mistake, me making a mistake, me walking the last batter, me just giving up one of the furthest home runs I've ever given up, right? If my If I'm mentally going to a place where I'm getting emotional about all those little things, there's no way I'm going to be able to throw that next pitch with the amount of conviction that I need. So becoming so strong between our ears has to be something that's talked about often. But again, go back to some of my biggest regrets was that I didn't grow up soon enough with that part of my game. I allowed myself to be way too emotional of a player about all the uncontrollables for way too long.
Yeah. It's almost like in those, what'd you say, 8 to 12 seconds or whatever?
I always shot to throw a pitch every 8 to 12 seconds.
So you
of on
have to be
base.
able to process what just happened and even just accept reality, whether that's a bad call or you missed your spot or whatever, be able to forget about it and then move on. Like that's a lot to do in 8 seconds.
Well, every other position on the field, if you make a mistake, even our catchers, if you make a mistake, you don't have the pressure on you to be all in and competitive on that next pitch, right? You have time to calm yourself, breathe more, get your mind back focused to where it needs to be. Whereas a pitcher, we have to be tough enough to where we have to be able to manage all those emotions, right? And I know that I finally got to a place in my career, and I've wrote another article on this. I think it was titled, "I Don't Care," where I got to a place where it didn't matter what happened. If the umpire made a mistake, oh well. If my fielders made a mistake, all right, what is the situation? How do we get out of this? If I walked a guy, runner on first, how do I get this next guy to hit a ground ball? I had to get to a place where I literally didn't care how I got there. All that mattered was this next pitch, this situation. How do we get out of this? And again, it's super easy to talk about. The hardest part is when you're out there. And especially with kids who are just kids, they're so far from emotional stability, most of them, that they need the adults around them to be the ones that are emotionally stable.
Well, I was just going to say that because it's probably harder for the parents to move on because they're completely hands off. They're on the outside of the field. They're just spectating. They're just watching. So it's probably even more because I don't think kids will care. They're more likely, in my opinion, to be able to shrug it off and move on than the parents are. And then especially if you have, emotionally reactive parents out there, they're like they keep carrying on about what just happened. It's like they're not helping their kid.
Kids tend to have a
on.
shorter memory.
Yeah.
But often it's the car ride home. It's the coaches meeting after the game where they kind of and you want to find time to talk about the mistakes made, but it almost for a lot of athletes is it gets to the point where they feel like they can't do anything right.
Yeah.
Like the adults, all they ever have to do is talk about everything we did wrong.
Yeah.
So it's like, as a coach, there's a fine line between how many mistakes do we want to talk about without going overboard? Because the youth game, to be honest, we could have 100 notes on every single game played.
Yeah.
Because there's literally so many things going on the field that need to be fixed. But we got to find ways to make notes and talk about things that were done right, even if it's something as simple as, Johnny in the dugout. Did you guys see how after he struck out, he came in and put his stuff down and got back up on the fence and cheered on his teammates? Like even something simple like that, you got to find something positive to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. You will get to play with and against amazing players from all over the world. Many of them will be more talented than you. If you want to play for a long time, you'll need to find a way to separate yourself as a competitor.
It is awesome to be the best player at your school.
Yeah.
It's amazing to be one of the best players in your city.
Yeah.
If you're one of the best in your state, that's pretty amazing. The reality of professional baseball is that you find yourself sharing a clubhouse, sharing a dugout, sharing a field with players on your team and the opposing team of the best from all across the world.
You might have to share a hotel room.
From all across the world. So that is something that every kid out there wants to be a professional, right? It's the dream, and keep that dream alive as long as we can. But when guys become professionals, I don't think what people really understand is that it's literally the best of the best.
Yeah.
And then to make it to the big leagues, like those guys that we get to watch on TV, there's literally nobody ever in the history of the game to do it better than those guys can do it. And especially guys that can stick there for 10 plus years. I mean, I think it's hard for people to really fathom, how good these, and a lot of it is what you're born with, right? I think all those guys, you have to come into this world with that sort of innate ability.
Yeah.
And you can't just take any,
it's just God-given.
You can't just take any Joe Schmo, go and practice the game every single day and expect to be that good.
Yeah.
And that's hard for some people comprehend, but I really feel you're born with a lot of those abilities. But I have seen guys that were really good in their area, in their hometown, at their school, find themselves amongst players from all over the world that are amazing, and it gets in their head. They put pressure on themselves. They start becoming even more mental. They start seeing failure for the first time, which I know we talked about. I went through a little bit of that. We're actually going to talk about it here in a few minutes, but it's hard. It's hard for a lot of really good athletes to handle because they've never been challenged in that sort of way.
Yeah. Couple more here. You will have some great coaches in your life and some who have no business being in that position. But you can learn something from all of them, even if that means learning how you don't want to be as a coach someday.
So again, I wrote another article called Thank You Coach. And in this article, I go down a list of different bullet points with all have to do with different points in my career. And to summarize it, I had some amazing coaches. How they did things was I learned that that's how, if I become a coach one day, that's how I want to do things. And then I had some coach that treated me in a certain way or treated some of my teammates in a certain way that I learned that, that is definitely not the type of person that I want to be if I'm ever in that sort of position.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good lesson to learn, but
yeah. And I don't think there's anything wrong with talking to young athletes. Like I have kids I talk with, and we're talking about maybe the coaches they have currently or coaches they've had and experience. And I'm like, but just remember that if you become a coach someday, you remember how that made you feel, whether good or bad. And you use that moment to help you, the type of person that you become someday.
And that's not to say that the coaches that resonated with you that you really liked were super easy and soft and gentle. And, it's just, they were able to, I don't know, resonate. I already said that, but something connected.
Yeah,
there was a connection or something, a light bulb went off or whatever. It just stuck with you. They made an impact on you.
My favorite type of coach or kind of approach is to be blunt, firm, and honest, but with a calm demeanor. Be like, look at you.
Be tactful and still get your point across.
You can't behave that way. You can't do this sort of things.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to work out there on the field or out in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Not, and there's yellers. There's coaches that are yellers. There's coaches that are too soft. There's coaches that let kids get away with everything. Every coach is made for somebody, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that the coaches that I was around, I was really fortunate to experience all of in some way.
Mm-hmm. Playing with and through discomfort is part of it. You shouldn't have to feel 100% to give 100%. You better develop some toughness in that area if you want to last. We'll talk about this too.
Yeah.
That's a tough one for a lot of people.
I have a headache. I got a stomach ache. I got a sore throat. I got a little sprain in my ankle.
I didn't sleep well.
I didn't sleep well. I jammed my finger, right? There's all these little things that, how often do we feel 100% every day?
Right.
Just in regular life, let alone having to go do something physical with your body.
Yeah.
It was my job, right? So as a professional player, it's literally my job. This is how I get paid. This is how I make money. It's my job to go out there and perform. Now, if every time I had some sort of ailment, something wasn't feeling perfect, there is no way that I would be trusted to go out there and pitch in a game. So I had to learn how to push all those feelings and emotions aside. And no matter what I was feeling, even if I just took a line drive back off my body, right? I had to be tough enough to be able to walk that off. Give me a minute, give me 60 seconds here, right? Let me walk it off and still be able to stay out there and compete.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a different level of physical toughness and mental toughness that comes with being that sort of, professional athlete, high level athlete, whatever you want to call it, that there's no room for soft. There's no room for, I don't feel good today. There's really
no calling in sick.
Unless I'm got the flu and I'm on my deathbed. I can remember sometimes that there were guys like that. I don't think it ever happened to me. I don't think I ever had to call in coach, I can't make it today and I happen to be pitching today. I don't think that ever happened to me. And there's some wiggle room there.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, I don't care if you have a headache, right? Your opponents literally, they do not care how you feel. They're waiting for you to have a soft moment.
Yeah.
Go out there and make a mistake and then hit the ball 500 feet off of you.
Yeah.
Right. They don't care. So there's a level of toughness that you just have to develop. And if you don't, I'm sorry, being a professional athlete's not for you.
Right.
That's just harsh.
It's super fun to get to be paid to play a game, but there's so much more on the other side of what it takes and what you go through, I guess, to have that privilege of playing a game for a job.
Yeah. It can be a hard concept to learn, especially like when our kids are younger, we want them to feel good all the time, right? We do things. And then, but there's also like, as a parent, our kids will try to find any way to get out of school, right? They're
Yeah.
like, I'm tired, right? I got a headache. That's fine.
Right.
Hop in the car and go to
Well,
school.
it's kind of like parenting. Like there were few times where I was able to like call in sick to motherhood, like especially if you were gone, or like maybe I could if you were home. I could go back to bed if I did have a headache or wasn't feeling well. But it's like parenting, like not that your kids don't care, but there's no calling in sick when you're a parent. If you're a parent, you're a parent, and that's all there is to it. You've got to find a way to push through. So I was going to ask, so outside, like I know you got to come home when we had our boys and, for like 48 hours or whatever. So like you missed whatever time with the team then. At what point do you call in, or the coaches are like, yeah, don't, stay home, or okay, you're going to start next week. We'll fill your spot. Like what happens when there is a player that's like,
it's typically a family emergency.
Okay.
If like, and especially if you're in another state, I got to get to the airport, find any flight, I got to get on and get over there.
But I'm talking about like if you are sick, you wake up, 103 temperature, you're throwing up, you are sick.
Yeah. So something like that, or if it's something that is super contagious. One of the years I was coaching, someone came in with pink eye. I don't know how they got it, but it was, and that thing's, I don't know how
That's wildfire.
I don't know how I didn't get it, but I remember that it was almost every player on that team went down with it at some point.
Coaches are kind of like separate.
Yeah, but so something like that, if it's something that's super contagious, we want the players to let us know. If I'm coaching a youth team and there's a kid, mom and dad call and say, hey, he's got the flu, he's got a temperature, stay home. We don't need this coming in. We know how that stuff can spread. It's the same thing with sending our kids to school. There are some things 100%, but again, to get back to the professional world, it's your job. There are so many little ailments that all those guys we're watching on TV are dealing with every day that you don't realize, but it doesn't matter. Like unless you have a broken bone, a torn ligament, a torn tendon, you got to go compete.
Yeah. Okay. Last one, enjoy the game. Someday you will play in your final game. Be grateful for what the game gave you, respect the game, remember as much as you can, and enjoy your teammates. And when you're ready, give back as much as you can.
Well, the first part is pretty self-explanatory. Everybody has a last day playing the game.
Yeah.
Everybody. So giving back is something that I've learned to appreciate from whether it's guys I played with, all these guys that are out there coaching teams that just love the game. The game gave them, whether it was a college experience or even if they didn't play long term, they just enjoyed the game. They love watching it, right? So the game gave them that pleasure and they want to turn around and keep living it, and give back in some way. I appreciate that. I respect that. Doesn't mean that everybody I would agree with how they give back, but it's still like the youth game wouldn't keep going if there weren't people giving their time, effort, and energy to being a coach.
Yeah.
Okay, now on to our next segment.
Okay.
Baseball 101 with Rachel.
Okay.
This is going to become one of my favorite segments.
Okay.
Okay, again, this segment is meant to be a little funny, but also educational.
Okay, because I don't know a lot.
You do know a lot.
Okay, I know a lot, but there's more that I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, way.
Okay, so, and again, to remind people, you do not know.
I don't know what you're going to say or ask me or.
You don't know anything about these questions that I'm going to ask. And today we're going to go over baseball terms.
Okay.
Okay. So these are things that are common phrases or terms used on a field.
Okay.
And some of these are more of my generation stuff that we would hear, that we would say out there.
Okay.
In the 1900s and the early 2000s, which I don't even know if they use a lot of these now. But our generation, some people listening wouldn't know these or maybe like to know these.
So is it like slang terms?
A little
phrases?
Some,
okay,
yep.
So it's not like stats and I have to know what it means?
No, not stats. Okay, first one. What is a can of corn?
Like an easy out.
Yes, very good. So it's like a fly ball, easy right to 'em.
Yeah, can of corn.
Look at you. What is a frozen rope?
A line drive.
Hey.
Whoa.
There's a kid I work with. His team name is Frozen Ropes. And I asked him, like, do you know what a frozen rope is? And he thought he like pointed to his arm. Like, I was like, what does that mean?
I was just thinking, what is like a straight line?
Yeah.
Line drive.
Like he plays for a team called the Frozen Ropes and nobody's ever explained to him what that means. I thought it was funny. Okay, what is a worm burner?
A worm burner?
Yeah.
Is that when you like diving catch or something? Or
It's
no?
it's a hard ground ball that stays
Oh,
close to the
okay.
ground. It's like, fast through the grass, killing some worms
Never
on the
heard
way.
that before.
Okay. What's a moonshot?
A really high pop-up? A
It's
really big home run?
a deep home run.
Okay.
Crushed it. Okay.
Big, I meant deep.
Okay, I think you've heard this one before. What's Oppo Taco?
Oppo taco, when you hit it to the opposite side of the field?
Hit a what to the opposite side of the field?
A home run?
There you go.
Okay.
Oppo Taco, opposite field home run.
Okay.
What's an Uncle Charlie?
I don't know.
It's a curveball.
I mean, I've heard the term kind of randomly, but I
You
don't.
should know this one.
Okay.
Chin music.
Was that like a high fastball?
Up and in.
Okay.
Like right under their chin.
Okay.
We'll get into it in 2003.
Okay.
Chin music became a big part of my career.
Okay. Oh,
And to
up
be
and-
honest, it's
Okay.
a reason why I ever made it to the big leagues.
Okay.
But we'll get there.
Okay.
What is a meatball?
It's something with pitching. Is that right? It's something with pitching. You can't even give me a hint. Is it like a curveball or something?
A meatball is a pitch right down the middle, belt high,
Okay.
easy to crush.
Okay.
Meatballs are, pitchers think they're going to get crushed all the time, and hitters think they're going to crush it all the time.
Okay.
But often guys get out on meatballs. They get too excited
Yeah.
and they overswing.
Hmm.
What is a backdoor curveball or a backdoor slider? You hear me say this all the time out in the cage.
All the time. Does it start like away from the hitter and kind of sneaks right in there?
In where?
The strike zone.
What part of the strike zone?
Wherever in the back of it. I don't know.
In the
bottom of it.
outside corner.
That's what I mean.
So
That's
like
what
if
this means.
if I'm throwing a backdoor slider to a left-handed batter, it's going to start off the plate away
Yeah.
and then sneak in the outside corner.
Yes. Okay.
So like when we throw, we want the hitter to see it and give up on it,
yeah.
and then it sneaks in, and
Okay.
it's usually like a backward K.
Okay.
What's
I
a
got
backward
that right.
K?
The third pitch of the strikeout.
Okay.
Is that right? I know it has
Partly.
some kind of significance.
Backwards K. A regular strike, like a swinging strikeout, would be a regular K.
Yes.
So
But he didn't swing.
yeah, you caught him
looking.
Caught him looking.
Okay.
Look at you.
See, I feel
You're
like I got that one
You're
right.
a baseball genius.
Oh, God. Far from it.
Okay, got 3 more.
Okay.
What is the Mendoza line?
I'd have no idea. Who's that?
It was that. The Mendoza line is hitting 200, like the batting average of 200.
Okay.
If someone is hitting below the Mendoza line, they have a batting average below 200.
Who's Mendoza?
I have no idea.
It's called that for a reason.
It is.
So
I have no idea. That's something I need to look up.
I got you on that one.
Okay. What is a golden sombrero?
I have no idea. You wear it in the dugout after you hit a home run.
I mean, that makes sense. There's a lot of teams that do something like that now. Golden sombrero is a hitter that has 4 strikeouts in a game. A sombrero would be 3 strikeouts. 4 strikeouts, that's a tough day at the field.
Well, it is a tough day at the field, but
yeah. Okay, last one. And this one, some of the younger generation, they don't agree with some of this, but what does it mean to be Bush League?
I've even said this before. How do I explain what
You've said it before and you don't know what it means?
I mean, I don't know how to explain what it means. Like when you'd say that's bull crap at something.
A player can be Bush League or a whole team can be Bush League.
I don't know.
It's usually like unsportsmanlike stuff.
Okay.
Bat flips are a big thing these days. Like it's become like an accepted part of the game.
Yeah.
Right. And the younger generation, they love it. They think it's cool.
Yeah.
But there are some ways, like if you bat flip and flip the bat back towards the pitcher, right? Or if you flip the bat towards the opposing team's dugout, right? Some of that stuff would be considered going too far or Bush League. Or like if you chanting from the dugouts these days, razzing, yelling things at the other team is getting to a place in the game right now where it's almost like borderline too far.
For the record, I hate that.
There's a lot of people that
even just as a spectator, it's racket. Let the hecklers in the stands do that. I don't think the dugouts at any age, at any level, anywhere ever needs to do any heckling.
Unfortunately, a lot of it is adult driven because they allow it. The kids do it because they think it's fun and whatever, but yelling at the pitcher while the pitcher's getting ready to throw a pitch. I know that if I was coaching a team, none of that stuff would be allowed. But again, it's just the game that I grew up in.
Well, we've been to some of Brooks' games and the teams are allowed to do whatever when
they're serving.
Yeah, and I just think it's like bad manners. It's rude. Yeah. It's impolite. It's like, get out of here with that.
Yeah.
Bush League.
Well, baseball.
How many did I get right?
Almost all of them.
No.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I had 13 that I asked you.
You did not have 13
You knew that
things.
almost all of them. Yeah, good job.
50%.
You're a baseball genius.
Stop. That's ridiculous. Oh my
Okay,
gosh. So should we get into
let's do
the
it.
season?
Let's do it. 1999.
Yeah, we're in Jackson, Tennessee, West 10, as a lot of people call it. Is it even west of Memphis?
It's east of Memphis is as
Is
far
it
west in the
very
state
okay?
as you can go.
So it's a little east of Memphis, but it's
I think it was
still
an hour, a little over hour.
it's West Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think it's about an hour east of Memphis.
And that stadium had been like abandoned since, I mean, nobody plays there anymore, right?
Oh no, I think it's been redone. It's been
Oh,
remodeled. I think
didn't it sit empty for
I
like
think now
a
there's
long time?
I'm not sure about that, but I think now
Oh.
there's independent league baseball in it.
I feel like you looked into it at one point and it had been like abandoned and it was like overgrown and really in bad shape.
No, you're thinking of Nashville.
No.
So there's a field in Nashville that has been completely abandoned that I've
Oh.
pitched in a lot, and I've shown you pictures of it. Like
Maybe
it's
that is
completely
what
overgrown with weeds.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah,
Okay. So we did not live together for this. At some point in 99, I started beauty school, was living with my parents, and beauty school was full-time, 8 to 5, and then I worked part-time at the mall. But I would come out and visit you when you had like a 2-series homestand. Okay, so according to your memory, not mine, you did not have a great year.
So in the last episode, we talked about the season before, which was a really good breakout season for me. And we talked about stats to just kind of help explain how the timing in my career, how old I was, the level I pitched at, how good it was. So before we dig in deep, go over some of the numbers I had of this season, and I'll kind of compare them to the season before.
So your win-loss was 3 and 8.
And the year before, I had more wins than losses.
Yes.
Okay.
Your ERA was 5.99.
Not good.
That's not good. You had 97 innings pitched. You gave up 121 hits, 62 walks, 57 strikeouts, and something that we haven't talked about yet, your whip was 1.87.
So let me talk real quick about innings pitched versus hits allowed.
Okay.
The standard is we don't want any more hits allowed than innings pitched. So if we can have, if I threw 97 innings, right? Is that what it said?
Yeah.
If I threw 97 innings, anything below that is great, right?
Yeah.
It means it's not as easy to make good contact off of me. So having that many more hits and innings pitched speaks to what my command was probably like, that how well I was executing pitches. If you look at walks, those are my walks.
62.
So 62 walks compared to 97 innings pitched. Now, last episode, we talked about the goal was like 3 or 4 innings pitched to 1 walk. That is almost a walk an inning. So a little bit less, right? And anytime you're allowing a walk an inning, that means that there is almost every inning you go out there and pitch, there's runners on base. You're having to pitch out of jams. Nothing is smooth. And then when it goes to the strikeout to walk ratio, right? Same thing. We wanted like 3 or 4 strikeouts to every 1 walk. And in this season, I had more walks than strikeouts.
Yeah.
Huge red flag.
Yeah.
Right? When it comes to evaluating
Yeah.
players based off of the stats they're putting up. So again, I went from the year before of being great in almost all categories to this year, on paper, my numbers were awful.
Yeah.
Like downright awful.
Yeah.
And
if
then,
somebody only looked at this one, they'd be like,
yeah,
that's not good.
Yep. And then to look at WHIP. So WHIP, WHIP, stands for walks plus hits.
Okay.
So those numbers combined per innings pitched.
Okay.
So they're looking at base runners allowed compared to innings pitched.
Okay.
Total base runners versus innings pitched. And my WHIP, and this year I had you write it down, was a 1.8.
1.87.
1.87, right? Again, the number that we're shooting for is about a 1.3 or less.
Okay.
If you can average about a 1.3 or less on your WHIP, you are doing well.
And I wrote down the previous years and you did.
So what I have the year before?
So in 98, you had 1.37.
Which is good. I mean, it's borderline, like there's probably some areas. And as we get deeper into my career, you'll see that I had some really good years. And they all have to do with that walk number. It always has to do with that walk number. So if you look at 1.37 that year, and the year before, I think I was at a
1.51.
1.51, and the year before that,
1.01.
So again, you talk about I went from good year, off year. good year, and now we're in another off year. So that
Yeah.
roller coaster that I've referred to that was going on early in my career, again, looking back, a lot of it was what was going on in my head,
Yeah.
too much blaming happening, too much excuse making. So that there were a lot of things that were going on to lead to a lot of these inconsistencies.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side of that, this year, after this season was over, I ended up having shoulder surgery, my only surgery in my career.
Mm-hmm.
It was called an acromioplasty. Your acromion kind of comes over the top, and sometimes it has a little
Is that a
spurt.
bone?
Yep, it has a
Okay.
little spurt kind of in the front here. Either grows on the end, or a lot of times, a lot of us have a little birth defect where it kind of has a little curl at the end, and it closes up some space in there that makes it harder for the joint to move and can cause some impingement. So they went in there and they cleaned that up, because that whole season I pitched off and on with what I was told was bicep tendonitis. So for most of that season, I was dealing with arm issues.
Mm-hmm.
But again, going out there and working through it, I think at one point during the season, I was on the disabled list for a little bit. So it was a season full of adversity. Looking back on it, and again, I've written about this before, I really feel that these seasons were necessary and needed for me to go through and learn from everything that goes on during those seasons to help me become the player I was later on in my career. And when you're in the moment, though, just like anything, when you're going through something hard and difficult, it's nearly impossible to realize what's happening.
Yeah.
Like, you don't realize that this has to be happening for a reason to help me later on. And it's
You're not thankful for the adversity when you're in it.
who thinks that way, right?
Yeah.
But again, looking back on it, and that's what I try to help a lot of these kids I work with right now, and the families, like, you had a rough game, but how can we use this? How can we turn this into a positive? Like, what can we learn from this to help
Yeah.
you be better prepared for next time? But nobody ever, when we were younger, nobody ever talked like about that stuff. You know, nobody helped us understand how to process moments of adversity like that to help us actually become better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, now all the teams have a mental performance coach in the organization. Like, there's these guys that literally travel with big league teams to help players learn how to become mentally better. Whereas back then there was nothing like that.
Yeah.
There was nothing.
You just had to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. So after that season was over, I ended up going in for surgery. It was in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
They cleaned that up, and that was kind of it. I think my biggest takeaways from that season were learning how to do better with taking care of my body, you know, when it comes to pre-game arm care, post-game arm care. Like, I learned a lot about arm anatomy that season,
Mm-hmm.
you know, what all the little things were, what leads to bicep tendonitis, how to manage the pain and discomfort, when I needed a day off, what 24 hours rest would do for my arm, what 48 hours of rest would do. I really feel that that season had to happen to me to learn how to take care of my arm better.
I mean, I remember picking you up from the airport. You traveled by yourself. I don't know if you remember that. You did that whole thing. Nobody went with you
To Chicago?
to Chicago.
Okay, I don't remember that.
Nobody, like, your parents didn't go. I didn't go. I remember picking you up from the airport and, like, your arm was in a sling. And I was like, dang, how do you even do that by himself? Like, suitcases and everything. And then I do remember you being very diligent about any rehab exercises that you had to do. You did them, like, no questions asked, no putting it off till later or tomorrow. It was, no, I got it. And it, like, not like it took that much time, but like, for whatever reason in the moment, I don't know, it stayed with me, I guess, now that I'm thinking about it, that, like, you took it very seriously.
Yeah. Well, before that, you know, I was a typical young athlete who you almost feel like you're invincible.
Yeah.
That, like, I can do this forever, right? And then you don't understand the importance of some of these things that you've been taught and encouraged to do until something happens, like an injury. And then you're like, oh, that's why I need to do these things to take care of my body. And from that point forward, I mean, use the word diligent. It became like a ritual. Like, I need to do these things before I throw. And then when I'm done throwing, if I throw a bullpen or I pitch in the game, I'm going to do these things to cool down.
So then did you have an arm care routine before and after your bullpens and outings, before having like dealing with the pain for that year and then having the surgery? And was arm care, just generally speaking, a focus?
I wouldn't say of mine personally. Organizational wise, you know, they had us do some minor arm exercises often, but definitely not to the extent that I would do them. And not that I had a routine that took 20 minutes to do after I was pitching,
Yeah.
but just, you know, I came up with a with like a band routine that took maybe 5 minutes, but it just did a lot. And I understood why I was doing it, to bring new blood to the area, to help things heal quicker, to help me maintain strength. One of these episodes we'll talk about what and how and why my routine ended up the way it was. But one of the things that I started doing later in my career was I would give my arm a full day of rest after a start day and before a start day. So I wouldn't even pick up a baseball the day after and the day before a start. But it was something I learned that helped me make sure that I was strong on day 5 on start day, and also that I was able to finish the season as strong as I was when I started the seasons. So I figured out these things that I needed to do to make sure that there was no question that I wasn't doing what I needed to do to make sure that I was available to my team and my coach to pitch.
Yeah.
Because a lot of that comes down to like, we're worth nothing if we're not available.
Right.
Right. If I keep getting hurt,
Yeah.
if I keep doing stupid things, or I'm being lazy with taking care of my body and I'm not available to pitch, at the end of the day, that's on me. Like I didn't do what I need to do to make sure I was ready. And when we're young kids, I see kids all the time. They don't want to do anything to warm up. They think it's stupid. They think it's a waste of time. It's boring.
I
All
don't
right.
need to. I
Yep.
feel fine. I
And
feel
and
ready.
all we can do, I mean, again, I can force you to do it,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, you have to understand the why and the how. But a lot of young athletes, they have to learn the hard way. It is what it is. Like as coaches and adults and parents, we can only do so much.
Yeah.
Like even we as adults have to learn things the hard way. Like we're encouraged and told things by our parents, but
Yeah.
in the end, I didn't.
Sometimes you got to touch the stove to learn the lesson.
I had to go through it myself to really understand the whys.
So then your routine, it's just nobody taught it to you. You just
Trial and error.
Yeah, you discovered what worked for you.
Yep.
And then do you remember if anybody else on any of your teams, after you started implementing that regularly during the season, were there other guys ever that like, why do you always do that? What are you doing? Or like were interested in maybe adding that to their routine or anything like that?
So, I mean, funny topic and question. At some point pretty quickly after this season, I stopped icing my shoulder altogether.
Oh.
I stopped icing my arm. Now, we were brought up on every time after you pitch,
Yeah.
every time you do something, you need to ice, right? It was the way of the game. It
Like
was
whether
the way
you're
of the world.
sore or not?
Yep. It was encouraged. It was just,
Okay.
it was what we were taught. It was at the time, it was what science said, right? Everything was, this is what.
And why is that? Because you had so much blood flow there. Like we need to like
Well,
get
the thought
the
is that when you're throwing, you're injuring yourself and breaking everything
breaking
down,
things
which is
down.
what is happening for
Yeah.
sure. That's why we're so dang sore the next day,
Yeah.
the next few days. But what I ended up doing, and I don't remember where I learned it. I don't know if I had a trainer that did it, if somebody else was doing it, but by doing the bands right after I threw, that would help bring new blood, new stuff to that area that I just broke down, to help facilitate and help encourage the healing to happen quicker.
Okay.
Right. The best way I could explain to somebody that may not understand is like, say you were lifting and you had a heavy chest day, right? And you get really sore in your chest muscles. Now, if you were to, and again, this is baseball related, but if you were to go out and play catch the next day with a sore chest, it's going to start out really tight.
Yeah.
But by the end of it, that one side of my chest is going to feel looser than the left side, because I just did all these throws and all these reps and stretches and did things to bring blood flow. And now all of a sudden, 3 days from now, my right side of my chest is fine, but my left side is still sore. It's still tight. It's still working through that soreness. So by bringing that new blood, by doing those bands to create some burn and to bring that blood in there, it's just going to help me get there quicker in the recovery process.
Okay.
Not saying that the ice didn't eventually get me to the same spot. It was just it was a different type of recovery, and I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I haven't studied it. I'm just going based off of, from doing both, what I experienced in both. And I recovered quicker without icing. I would say for the last 7, maybe 8 years of my career, I could count on one hand the amount of times I iced. And that was because of a sprained ankle, because I got hit with a line drive in my arm one time, just didn't ice anymore.
Yeah. But you discovered that it didn't really benefit you at all to do it.
Yeah. And again, I don't know where I learned it, but it was just, and I really think now.
Or maybe it was just like, let me try not icing. Like, what if I don't ice?
Yeah.
What,
And I
because
think
the only way to figure it out is to try it.
Yeah. And there are still guys that ice, like you'll see some guys in the dugout icing on
Yeah.
TV, but I would bet, because of kind of how the game has progressed, that more guys now don't ice than do ice. Whereas way back when, it was just a part of what you did. Everybody iced. I pitched. I'd go up in the clubhouse. Trainer would put some ice bags on your arm, and you'd put some ice on there for 15, 20 minutes, and that was the extent of your arm care. Whereas now you go in there and like you have trainers that will put you through a post throwing arm routine.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Interesting.